This video starts off showing the exciting presentation of two sword and sorcery characters, King Kull and Thongor, plus one science fiction character, Gullivar Jones, Warrior of Mars. They are presented on covers of the Marvel Comics Creatures on the Loose comic book series that ran from 1971 to 1975 in chronological order. After this, one of these characters, who shortly afterwards got his own series, King Kull, is presented on a series of covers from 1971 to 1978 in chronological order. As the covers go by, lots of fascinating information is presented, including origin information, but is not intended to correspond to the specific cover being shown. Creatures on the Loose started its numbering with issue number 10. It was formerly a horror comic book series titled Tower of Shadows, and it was a mixture of sword and sorcery, science fiction, horror, and fantasy. Issue number 10 featured a King Kull sword and sorcery story by writer Roy Thomas and artist Bernie Wrightson. In issue number 16, writer Roy Thomas and the art team of Gil Kane and Bill Everett introduced the feature Gullivar Jones, Warrior of Mars, starring an interplanetary Earthman created by author Edwin L. Arnold in his 1905 Lieutenant Gullivar Jones, His Vacation. This was before the 1912 start of the long-running Edgar Rice Burroughs Mars series of science fiction stories, which heavily featured the adventures of the Earthman John Carter, who had been teleported to Mars, where he became romantically involved with Dejah Thoris. Following another issue by Thomas and one by Jerry Conway, science fiction novelist George Alex Effinger wrote the final 3 installments. Effinger continued as writer for the series that immediately followed in issue number 22, Thongor, Warrior of Lost Lemuria, adapting a sword and sorcery barbarian character created by author Lynn Carter. Following writers Tony Isabella and Gardner Fox, Carter himself co-wrote with Steve Gerber the final 2 installments. Thomas, Marvel's associate editor at the time, recalled in 2007 that Thongor had been the company's first choice when Marvel decided to publish a licensed fantasy character rather than the eventual hit Conan the Barbarian. Publisher Martin Goodman authorized us to go after a character. I first went after Lynn Carter's Thongor, who was a quasi-Conan with elements of John Carter of Mars, partly because editor-in-chief Stan Lee liked that name the most. I soon got stalled by Lynn Carter's agent on Thongor. He was hoping I'd offer more than $150 per issue I was authorized to offer, and I got a sudden impulse to go after Conan. King Kull is also known as Kull of Atlantis. In 1997, there was a Kull the Conqueror movie starring Kevin Sorbo as Kull and Tia Carrere as his female enemy. That movie was originally intended to be the 3rd Conan movie, Conan the Conqueror, but Arnold Schwarzenegger declined to play the role of Conan. Kevin Sorbo was reluctant to redo a character already played, so the character was changed to Kull. Kull is more introspective of a character than Howard's subsequent creation, Conan, whose first appearance was in a rewrite of a respected Kull story. In the Conan the Barbarian story, Shadows of the Skull, it is revealed that Conan is a direct descendant of Kull. Kull of Atlantis, or Kull the Conqueror, made his first published appearance in a story titled The Shadow Kingdom in the August 1929 issue of Weird Tales. The story starts shortly after Kull a barbarian from Atlantis has conquered Volusia and becomes its king. A total of 3 Kull stories were published before Howard's death, and later 9 more stories and a poem. Kull was born in pre-cataclysmic Atlantis, 100,000 BC. He was a pirate between his late adolescence and his early 20s. He then became an outlaw, and then a gladiator, then a mercenary, and then a leader of mercenaries. By his early 30s, he is involved in a revolt and becomes a king. Once a king, he faces several internal and external challenges. Would you like a live-action movie made about any of these characters? And if so, who would you like to have play the starring role? More videos like this one, short and longer, can be viewed at the Comic Excitement Convention, Sword and Sorcery playlist, and Science Fiction playlist. Please like, comment, subscribe, and click the notifications bell.